And now, a special announcement from Disabled Adventures. This just in. What? Come on, really? Hi, this is Tony with Disabled Adventures, and I would like to dispel some rumors about the video that you're about to watch. I was not kidnapped by aliens. They did not remove the top part of my head and do experiments on me. What you see in the video is I am new at this and I was not aware with the camera how it was placed, and I ended up cutting off the top part of my head. I apologize for that. The video is still completely watchable and still enjoyable, but just know that I'm new at this. I'm still learning. There are also portions of the video where the camera shakes a lot. I do take medication that causes my hands to shake, and the image stabilization apparently wasn't working. So again, I do apologize for these things. I do still hope you enjoy the video. Give us a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for a lot more adventures. Hello everybody, it's a great day to be above ground. My name is Tony, and you are watching Disabled Adventures. It's a really nasty day out today. It's been raining and there's been some hail around, and so it's been kind of nasty and I don't really want to go anywhere, so I'm kind of stuck in the house. So I'm going to do some stuff that I've always wanted to do, and the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you guys how to make vanilla. And we're going to learn at the same time, not vanilla per se, but vanilla extract. You know that crap that you buy at the store that you throw in your cookies and stuff like that? It comes in a little bottle, says McCormick or something else on it, and it usually sucks because it's mass made and it's terrible. We were down in the Dominican Republic and got some really awesome vanilla, and I've been always wanting to get more, but of course I don't want to fly back down there, and it's really expensive to order. And so I started looking around, and it turns out that you can make your own vanilla extract extremely easy and actually really cheap, especially if you already have some of the ingredients, like extra, you have got the bottles and stuff for it or whatever. But I had to get a couple things because I didn't have all of it. But it's really simple to make. It only has basically 3 ingredients. Well, 2 if you go a different route, but I'm doing it this way. You can make it with either just plain old vodka. You can buy the cheap rot gut stuff if you want. You want it to be an alcohol that's completely flavorless, and you want it to be anywhere from 40 to 50 proof is where you want it. I'm actually going to use Everclear, which is 190 proof, and you can use this straight, but from what I've been reading about it, if you do that, it'll burn the vanilla beans and just make it taste terrible. So you can actually start off with it just straight, but you've got to tone it down pretty quickly within a couple of weeks, or it's just going to be ruined. So what you'll need to do is we'll need to mix half and half Everclear and just plain old distilled water. Now you don't want to use tap water or just filtered water because it still has minerals and it'll leave flavors and stuff in there that you don't really want. So this jug of, it's parent choice, you know, it's what you use for babies and stuff, and it was cheap. I think it was like 90 cents for a gallon of water. So Everclear, I think it's like less than $5 for a bottle of Everclear. And we're going to make actually a good amount of vanilla extract. The worst part about making your own vanilla extract is time, because you have to wait, you know, 2, 3, 6 months before it actually gets that really good flavor. They actually recommend you wait a year, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to let it sit for an entire year before I use it, and we'll see how it is. And on that day, I will bring you guys back and we'll make some cookies or something out of it and see how it turns out. So the first thing we got to do is going to be a 1-to-1 ratio for the Everclear to water. Now, these are 16-ounce bottles, so they is 8 ounces in a cup. So basically, this is 2 cups per bottle. And these have already been washed and sanitized, because you want to make sure you do that before you use any, put any type of food product in here. Although I don't think it really matters, because you're putting a bunch of alcohol in it, and that's going to kill anything anyway. You drink this stuff, it'll kill you. So But anyway, so these are 16-ounce bottles, so they're going to be 2 cups apiece. So we're going to end up making 6 cups of the Everclear solution, which I only have a 4-cup thing, so we'll make 4 and 2. So basically, this is a like I said, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So we'll need 2 cups of Everclear. And no, I'm not going to take a shot of this stuff. With all the medication I'm on, I'd probably pass out in 5 seconds. So then we've got our bottle of, you got to be smarter than the cap. Anyway, throw that over there. And now we're going to add 2 cups of water. And now what we've done is we've taken this from 190 proof down to about 45 proof, which is dead center between the 40 and 50 that they say that you really need to make it good. So we have that all in there. I'm going to grab a whisk. I don't have the little tiny whisk like Babish has got. I need to get one of those. So we're just going to mix this up. The smell is atrocious, let me tell you. I don't know if anybody has ever been near Everclear. It's terrible. So now we're going to add our 2 cups and try not to spill it everywhere. Just a little bit more. Now, it said these were 16 ounce, so okay, we're still a little ways to go. And I'm spilling half of it on the counter. Yeah, we're almost there, a little bit more. That's good enough. We gotta have room to put the vanilla beans in. So now I'll put the other one in here. You'd think with a pour spout that I could keep all in the bottle. I'm just making a mess. But that's my life. I make messes all the time. But you know what? I clean them up. There we go. Now for the next, I need 1 more cup of Everclear, which puts us exact. Looks like we're going to have plenty of Everclear to make 3 bottles. Add another cup of water. Give it a little mixy mix. And then we add it to the bottle, just like the other ones. And we spill it all over the counter, just like the other ones. Now look at it this way, at least I'm disinfecting my counter. I might have these a little full. We'll see, we can always dump a little water out if we need to. So the next thing we need to do, we need to prepare our vanilla beans. And I bought Madagascar vanilla beans. They are gourmet grade A. I think you need to have at least a grade B if I'm remembering right. But this is the brand I got. And they weren't that expensive. I can put up on the bottom of the screen there that shows the cost of all this. And you know, this is a ton of vanilla extract. I mean, this is going to last couple of years at least, unless you do a ton of baking, which I try to do some. I do like making cookies, and I'll make banana bread and stuff like that, and so I do use a lot of vanilla extract. I ran out of my good stuff from down in the Dominican Republic. I tried to replace it with the Mexico stuff. It was okay. I found another one that was okay, and that's kind of why it got me to say I'm just going to make my own. I mean, because of the cost of the vanilla extract, you're buying the good stuff, and don't ever buy the imitation. It's just horrible. It tastes like chemicals. It's just horrible. I know it's a little more expensive for the real vanilla extract, but if you make your own, it's not that bad. So this is what the beans look like. And I wish we had smell-o-vision because this smells amazing. So I have 25 beans, and you want to put 6 to 10 beans per cup. And of course, the longer it stays in there, the better it is. So I really should be putting, you know, probably 12 beans per, but I don't have quite that many. So I'm going to end up putting 8 1/3 per, and I think it'll turn out fine. This won't be quite as strong. I may end up buying a little bit more to throw some more in there, because you can do that. Once you've used some of this, you just add more beans, and you can add more 45 proof alcohol, and you can just keep refilling it, and it'll just keep lasting on and on. So, but for right now, I'm going to start with 8 beans or 8 1/3 basically. And what you'll do is you want to split them like that, because that gets the beans out of there. And then we're going to cut these into thirds, and then just drop the whole thing down in there. Let's do another one. And you want to make sure you cut it open, because you see those little beans there. That's where the vanilla flavor comes from. It's the beans. The pods themselves have some because it's got the oils, but it's the beans that you get the most flavor from. So you want to make sure you get all that. So I'm going to continue to do this. I'm probably do this in a time lapse, maybe play a little happy music while I do it. But here we go. Now, some of you keen observers out there noticed I called an audible. I decided I'm just going to use 2 of the bottles. I'll buy some more vanilla beans and I'll fill that one up. So I think I would rather have a good strong vanilla than, you know, since it's going to take a year before I'm actually going to be able to taste this. So I figured I'll just go ahead and do the 2, and then I will buy some more beans for that one. So now we've got them all in there. As you can see, you got the beans there at the bottom. It's already starting to turn kind of a you know, yellowish color, like, you know, vanilla. Now we just need to grab the lids. So I got these good locking lids on here, and hopefully I'm smart enough to figure out how to put this on. Aha, got it. Okay, I'm an idiot. I finally figured it out. So this is the way this attaches on there. All right, how did I do that again? All right, these have little holes in here. That attaches like that. Then the stopper goes on like that. And then you just pull that down and it's sealed. Yay! All right, now that that's sealed, the next thing you want to do is you want to shake your groove thing. You just want to sit there and just shake these. Don't look at this shaking, watch the bottle shaking. Just shake your groove thing. All right, got a good shake. So you can see all those little black things floating around in there. That is the vanilla pods. Seeds, whatever. And you know, if you ever buy homemade vanilla ice cream from the store and you see those little black specks in there, it's not pepper, it's not bugs, it's vanilla. So anyway, there we go. Vanilla's done. Now we just have to shake it every couple of days, and then for a couple of weeks, and then after that, shake it every couple of weeks. Within 6 months, it should be ready to go. And then up to a year, and then it's ready to use. Like I said, I'm going to wait till about a year before I taste it, and there it is. That's the first half of the video, how to make vanilla. And hopefully you guys don't struggle as much as I did. So next, I'm going to show you guys how to make the easiest bread that you'll ever make. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some bread. Now this may look a little overwhelming because there's quite a lot of stuff here on the counter, but it's really pretty simple. Several months ago, I went to Walmart, and I usually buy the bread in the bakery aisle because I don't like all that pre-made stuff on the bread aisle because it has so many preservatives in it. You could buy one of those loaves of bread, put it on the counter, and forget about it for 6 months, go back, and it's not even molded. And they just put so many preservatives in there, and that cannot be good for you. So I always try to buy our bread from the bakery aisle, and I would buy the bread and bring it home, and after a couple of days, it's molded. And I was like, what the, we can't even enjoy our bread because you can't eat a whole loaf of bread in 2 days. So when it came around my birthday time, I talked to my wife and kids. It's like, you know what, for this year, for my birthday, I want a bread machine. So they got me a bread machine. We actually got this one at Lowe's. It's the Vivor or Vevor or whatever. They actually make really good stuff. They make cheap versions of ordinary things, and I love it. I think this thing works great. It's a little loud, and it's yeeted itself off the counter once, which was a very big surprise. I was sitting there watching TV, and all of a sudden I hear this loud bang, and I go into the kitchen, and the thing's laying on the floor. So when it gets kneading and spinning, man, it puts a lot of, sliding around on it. So if I do it on my other counters, it slides around too much. If you put it on here, it doesn't really slide that much. So I try to do it on the island. It helps it, So, but yeah, it's very simple. The bread machine itself, I want to say, was around $60, which is not expensive. And then you buy the ingredients. Yeah, you have a little bit more of an upfront cost, but if you figure how many loaves of bread you're getting out of the stuff, I mean, it's cheap. It is super cheap, a lot cheaper than buying that stuff at the store, and a lot better for you because you know what's going in it. So I make this so much, I have actually written the recipes on my bread flour container. Because here's my bread flour container. I have 2 different recipes. I'd have one for buttermilk, which I like the buttermilk one a lot better. I think it tastes better, but you don't always want to buy buttermilk. Can't always find it. And it seems like it goes bad a lot faster than other milk. I don't know. It just, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. So then I have that recipe, and then I have another recipe here for regular milk. Now with the regular milk one, you add a powdered milk to it to enrich it, to make it have a better flavor. So with the buttermilk one, you don't. So like I said, I wrote the recipes on here because I make it so much so I don't have to pull out a recipe. It's right there. So today we're going to make the buttermilk one, and you just add the ingredients in the order they are on here to your little container. Now you can use cups, teaspoons, tablespoons, whatever. I found that it's a lot simpler if you do it using weight. It comes out better, and it's more accurate. And I just bought a simple scale. These are not expensive, and you get it set. Okay, then the first thing we'll do is you have to heat up the buttermilk because you need that heat to interact with the yeast so it will rise. So move this stuff out of the way here so you guys can see what's going on. We take our container, which I have one of these magic bullets, and so I'll use this, put that on there, and then you push the 0 button, it does what's called tearing, which it'll zero out whatever's on there. So the first ingredients that we need is 260 grams of buttermilk, which I shook this up because it starts to separate a little bit. So we'll pour it until we get to 260 grams. Now you want to be as close as possible. You don't have to be absolutely exact, like you don't have enough. If you put too much, you got to pour it out. Just make sure you have at least 260 grams, which I hit 266, no big deal. So the next we're going to add 1 egg, and you really want to have it room temperature, but I really don't think it matters too much. So we'll crack our egg in there. And we add our lid. Now I'm going to do this back over here behind me because I got an outlet back here. And we just take this and put it on here. This is gonna get loud. And I do that so I can blend the egg in with the buttermilk. So it makes it, incorporates a whole lot better. Because it says to whip an egg before you add it to the milk. I just do this. And then I also have my container that it needs to be microwaved in. This is microwave safe. And I found that if we do it for 53 seconds, it brings it up to right about 105 to 110 degrees. So, and that's about right where you want it. You don't want to get it too hot, especially, I'll end up cooking and curdling cooking the egg and curdling the milk. But at 105, 110 degrees, it's not going to do that. So I'm going to set these out of the way. And clean up my mess a little bit. And while that's doing that, we're going to take our container here. And you want to make sure you put your little mixer thing in there, because if you don't, you have to stick your hand in there, it's nasty. So put that in there, and then we're going to tare this again. And we got it set back to 0. And that makes our microwave is done. We'll pull it out, and you can see how it kind of bubbled up and stuff like that. That's just because it got hot and it's starting to separate just a little bit. So all we need to do is we'll put our lid back on. Ooh. We got our lid back on. We'll pop it on here. Take it for another zap. All done. We'll bring it back over here. And see, now it's all nice and mixed back together. We'll pour that in. See, there's no big chunks, nothing. So we're all good to go. So now we're going to go back and we're going to tare it. Now we need to add 40 grams of sugar. Now you can use any type of sugar that you want here. I haven't tried sweeteners, but they do make a sweetener that's made for baking. So if you're worried about calories, that can help, although it's bread. So it's still going to have a lot of calories no matter what. So I use the sugar in the sugar in the raw because I think it tastes better. So, it's this nice granulated brown looking sugar, and we need 40 grams. So we're going to just add it until we get to 40 grams. Like I said, you don't have to be absolutely exact, like to the grain, but you want to get it pretty close, which, hey, 41. Oh well, close enough. So now we're going to tare it again. And this time we need 45 grams of butter. And you want to make sure it's softened. You don't want to use melted butter because it'll raise the heat of everything. I guess you could melt it and let it sit for a while, but then it all separates. You really just want to use softened butter. And we usually leave our butter out on the counter so it stays pretty soft. So we want 45 grams of butter. Now it says unsalted butter, but I don't ever buy unsalted butter. I just use the salted stuff. I just think it tastes better. Because if you ever tried unsalted butter, it tastes absolutely horrible. So we're right at the 45 grams. We're gonna kind of do one of these. And we're at 45 grams, right on the dot. Next, we're gonna put in salt. Now you can use any salt that you want. You can use just regular old table salt, whatever. I like using this Himalayan pink salt, and I get the fine stuff. I think it adds a little bit of flavor to it. It adds some extra minerals. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But I like using this stuff. It's not that expensive, and I basically only use this for my baking. So we're going to hit the tare again. And on the salt, we need 8 grams. So we're going to go to, oops. Oh well, I got 10. It'll be okay. It really won't be salty. I think it'll be fine. I'm not too worried about it. So next, we want to tare again. And this time we're going to add 500 grams of bread flour. Now you want to use bread flour. You don't want to use regular all-purpose or cake flour or rice flour or anything like that. Bread flour is specifically for bread because it makes the gluten activate and all this stuff. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about, right? I have no idea. Bread flour for bread. There you go. So we're going to add 500 grams. And when you measure flour, if you decide you want to use cups instead of grams, that's why I like using this, because I think it turns out a lot better. If you're going to do that, you want to scoop into your measuring cup. You don't want to dig your measuring cup in there and then pour it into where you're measuring, and then pour it into your stuff, because you'll compact the flour. You'll put too much flour in there and then it'll be extremely dense. And you really don't want that, because you don't want super dense bread. You want it to be light and fluffy and flavorful and all that. So the best thing to do is you want to just take and scoop. If you can do the weight, that's the best way. So we're going to need 500 grams. So we're taking a big scoop here. I'm going to keep going until I hit 500 grams. And you'll notice I'm not mixing any of this. All right, we're super close. So we're gonna go right up to the wire. Oh, 502, close enough. Like I said, a couple grams here and there between friends, no big deal. All right, next thing we're gonna do is we're going to tare it again. And the last ingredient we're gonna do is we put in a yeast, and you want an active dry yeast because it will activate with the heat. Works really well for bread machines, stuff like that. And I buy this yeast here. It's Fleischmann's bread machine yeast, instant yeast. It's made specifically for bread machines. And I found this works out the best. So we're gonna open this up. We've already tared our thing, and we're gonna add 5 grams of yeast. There we go, 5 grams. We'll shake it around a little bit so it evens out some. And then we got our bread machine, and we're gonna set the color to light, because I just like a lighter loaf of bread. I don't like it really dark. You can set it to whichever one you want. But we'll use the first setting, which is soft bread. It's gonna take 3 hours and 11 minutes to cook, and I have it on the light amount, and we want the 750 grams loaf. So we'll take this, it goes down in here, just like that, locks in place, close the lid, and you press start. And then you can dance, because it's got a good beat and you can dance to it. But anyway, that's all there is to it. We're going to let this cook. It's going to take 3 hours and 11 minutes. Once it's done, we'll come back and we'll check it out and see how good it looks. All right, so it's been 3 hours and 11 minutes. Our bread is done. So we can go ahead and take it out. Just open this up, grab it, and twist it. We'll dump it out. There we go. And it's nice because the little blade thing will come and we'll just pull out real easy. Bad thing is though, is if you let this sit and you try to pull that out later, you have to soak it in water or that thing gets stuck. The bread's like glue. But there we go. We have our fresh baked bread. Only 3 hours and 11 minutes. Super easy to make. Nice and soft. Let's cut it open. See if I can do this one-handed. And there we go. You got a nice soft white bread. You can slice this up for sandwiches, toast, whatever, or just some nice butter, maybe a little honey, you know, excellent. So it's that easy. You get you guys a bread machine, throw your ingredients in it, push a button, walk away, and you're all good. So I want to thank you guys for joining me for this disabled adventure. I've had a good time, even though it's been nasty outside. We got this all, got some good stuff done. Got the vanilla extract made us some nice bread. And that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, be sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your loved ones, tell your enemies, tell whoever, it doesn't matter. But I hope to see you guys in the next one. Have a great day.